mission of GB News, and that's the most fundamentally important thing.
GB News provides the kind of platform that lets all voices be heard.
We don't hold back. We're free to say what we really think. Just because some people who live in a tiny little Westminster bubble think that their particular story is important, that's not the most important story for me.
And often they will be difficult stories, stories that you won't find on the establishment media.
Because what people think in the north of England may be very different to what they're thinking in the home counties.
We're going to carry on telling the world what life is really like for households up and down the UK.
We love to be in your car, in your kitchen as you're having your breakfast. Whatever you're doing, you are part of the show. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Patrick Christie's, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6. We tackle the day's news agenda like you've never seen before. It's high tempo, high octane, the most controversial topics and the best guests. You will not be able to take your eyes and ears off it. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that you really want answered. 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, on Sunday mornings from 9:30, taking the politicians to task and breaking out of SW1 to see how their decisions are affecting you across the UK. Bursting the Westminster bubble every Sunday morning, only on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's watching.
Join us every night on GB News at 11 p.m. for Headliners, which is 3 top comedians going through the next day's news stories, which is exactly what you need, because when the establishment has gone crazy, you need some craziness to make sense of it. So join us 11 p.m. every night on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Dan Wootton. You can watch me live on GB News Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. And did you know that you can also watch and listen live on our website, gbnews.com. You'll always be up to date on the latest breaking news, as well as enjoying the best stories, opinions and shows. You can even join the debate under our live player as you're watching. So head straight to gbnews.com on TV, radio and online. GB News, Britain's news channel.
So Jubes and Kerr, we tackle the issues of the day with real robust debate, both sides of the fence, battling it out with me in the middle with my forthright opinions and views. And often really interesting things happen because you start with a position and then by the end of the debate you find actually, well, I might not have thought about that one.
What we need in this country is 2 new political parties.
You should maybe think about doing a 2024 calendar. I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm keeping you company right through until 7 o'clock this evening.
GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's watching.
Good evening, I'm Ray Addison in the GB Newsroom. Well, footage has emerged which appears to show the Prime Minister joking about trans people at a meeting of Tory MPs.
Davey has been very busy. Like me, you were probably seeing that he was busy trying to convince everybody that women clearly had penises. And I was reflecting, you all know I am a big fan of everybody studying maths to 18. But it turns out that we need to focus on biology to 18.
Well, in that video, which was obtained by Pink News, Rishi Sunak can be heard criticising Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davies' support for trans rights at a meeting of the 1922 committee on the 5th of June. He jokes that Sir Ed wants to convince everybody that women can have penises and says the country needs more biology lessons. GB News approached Number 10 for comment. They responded by saying that the PM's jokes were about Sir Ed Davey, not trans people, and they referred us to a previous interview where he said he believes that the issue of biological sex is fundamentally important. Well, the Met Police say that they are aware and considering new footage which shows Conservative staff partying during lockdown and joking about COVID restrictions. Michael Gove, the Levelling Up Secretary, has apologised, describing the behaviour as unacceptable. In the footage, obtained by the Mirror, Tory staff can be seen ignoring the government's social distancing rules at the height of the pandemic. 2 of the 24 people at that Christmas party were later handed honours by Boris Johnson. Mr Gove told us that disciplinary action has already been taken.
The reason why those steps were taken was to
reduce the spread of the disease, in order to make sure that the pressures on the NHS were manageable, in order to make sure that we could treat people who were very ill. So again, the actions here are deeply distressing, and I can only apologise to people that individuals behaved in this way. My understanding is that there was an investigation into the party when the photograph emerged, and people were disciplined.
MPs will debate any possible punishment for Boris Johnson tomorrow after he was found to have misled Parliament over Partygate. The Privileges Committee recommended that the former Prime Minister should face a 90-day suspension had he not already resigned in advance of that judgment. Now it's understood that his supporters are being encouraged to abstain. The United Nations says that Russia has declined their request to access Russian-occupied areas affected by the flooding from the Kakhovka Dam. Now, this comes as the death toll has now risen to 45, with Moscow reporting 29 fatalities in Russian-held areas. The breaching of the dam in early June unleashed floodwaters across southern Ukraine, including areas occupied by Russian forces. It's destroyed land and cut off access to supplies. Kyiv says more than 3,600 people have been evacuated, while 31 are still missing. We're on TV, online, on DAB+ radio and on TuneIn too. This is GB News. Time now for our headliners.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. I'm Leo Kearson. Joining me for a cheeky look under the covers of tomorrow's newspapers are two top-flight comedians, New York's Lewis Schaefer, and for the first time on the show, it's Junior Booker. How are you both doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be with Junior. I was going to introduce him as my son.
It's 2023. Could happen.
But people know that I'm gay.
OK. Just for Pride Month. OK, that's enough frivolity. Let's have a look at the front pages of these papers. The Daily Mail leads with bank told to wait before imposing another rate hike. The Telegraph has, I'll push onshore wind to hit net zero. The Guardian has pressure on Sunak as Met Police consider latest Partygate video. The Times has Britons to be priority on council house lists. The Express leads with taxpayer will not foot bill for mortgage bailout. And finally, the Daily Star has the Great Beer Robbery. And those were your front pages. And let's kick off this in-depth look into Monday's papers with The Guardian, Lewis.
This is The Guardian. Pressure on Sunak as Met Police consider, quote-unquote, well, I don't know what that's, I don't know.
They're considering it.
They're considering it. They're considering latest Partygate video, which showed in 2014 a bunch of...
No, it's 2020.
December. Oh, my God, it seems so long ago. December 14th. Thank you for listening out there. December. I wasn't paying attention to this thing. Anyway, December 14th, 2020, during the... I wouldn't say it was the height of the COVID. It was the second blurb of the COVID. Yeah. Is that bunch of conservative people, and they're obviously conservative because they're the nerdiest people I've ever seen. Yeah. And actually partied and got close to each other. And people are upset about that because the whole country was locked down. I don't think they were completely locked down at that time. Do you know if
it was? It was.
Was it a complete lockdown on the 14th?
In London, it was.
In London, we're locked down.
But then that weird period was like zone 2, then zone 3, then zone 1, but we was in a semi-lockdown.
Right, okay, that I did not understand, right, because I don't remember it because it's an all a blur to me. Yeah. Can I just say this? That this is a complete non-story because everybody knows, and all of these people knew, that COVID wasn't a thing. Because
COVID does exist. I mean,
it was a thing.
No, you can't say that it exists.
I wasn't allowed to work. I couldn't work because of COVID. So
no, because they told you COVID. That wasn't.
It's still a thing.
It isn't. It wasn't a thing. It was an excuse.
There's a virus. There's a COVID virus.
Happening.
It's debatable as to whether shutting down the whole economy and society was the best way to deal with this incredibly survivable virus.
Yeah. Can I just say? Can I disagree with you? And I want to cut you off right then. That is what they're trying to say. No, people knew if COVID was a major major thing, I guarantee you people would say, listen, maybe we shouldn't have a party. But every one of these people said, let's get close to each other.
Nobody was having like parties when the plague was going through London. Nobody was getting together and having parties. But I mean, Junior, do you think, because a lot of people are very angry?
I'm angry myself as well. I'm very angry about this because actually I got in trouble during lockdown. I got an ASBO.
No way.
Yeah, it's called an ASBO now, but I got an ASBO.
An ASBO?
Yeah,
What
antisocial disorder something. So I want an ASBO taken off my name. Or the fake name that I gave to the police.
And was that for COVID-related, lockdown-related?
Yeah, I had a few people in my house who wasn't living with me, I guess, at the time, so I got in trouble.
Was it as cool as this party? Did you have
I thought it was better than that. It was better dancing. It was better dancing and better jumpers.
So who should be punished? Who should be punished? No, obviously you not. Should these people...
Yeah, they should be punished. They should be fined more than £50, because £50 nothing to them.
Right, so you had a party, so you risked death.
No, it wasn't.
Those people.
It wasn't, but COVID wasn't, it was a thing, but I wasn't scared of it at that point.
Because you didn't think it was anything.
It was a thing, it was something going on. I couldn't work, so to me it was a thing.
No.
And we'd had it for a year, almost a year by that point. Right. So, I mean, we knew... We sort of had the measure of it a bit, and all right, the rules were brought in. I mean, this is what sort of annoys me about it, is that, I understand people are angry, that, the people setting the rules were having parties and all the rest of it. Yeah. They were having to go in to work and work. And also they knew that COVID just wasn't that bad. It's just, it's not it's not like...
But the general public didn't know this.
Yeah, well, the general public were so scared of COVID, they demanded that the government brought in these rules and treated them like little babies.
So shouldn't these people have been brave and said, listen, it's all a bunch of bunk?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. If the government had any backbone, if Boris had really stuck to his convictions, he would have said, like, listen, it's just not as bad as people are making out.
I think they should get a couple of days in prison. Every single one of them.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
And they should
because they set the rules. So if you set the rules, you shouldn't break them. And I broke the rules, but I didn't set the rules. Yeah. So my little ASBO.
Do you know something? Fine. You broke the rules and you got caught.
Allegedly.
Because you're a young black man living in...
I'm not young, but yeah, I'm
whatever.
in South London. Compared to you, I'm young, yeah. I was 35 at the time.
Yeah, that's to me.
How much was the fine, if you don't mind me asking?
I didn't get fined, just got an ASBO.
All right.
Yeah. So they gave you a thing. And
they were going to fine me, but I'd made up some sort of sob story. And
the truth
I was very convincing.
Everybody knows.
Allegedly.
No, everybody knows. There's a song. Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows. It's called Everybody Knows by Leonard Cohen. Everybody knows that the war is over. Everybody knows the good guy lost. And that's what this is about, that everybody knew COVID was complete bunk, even
it's not complete. It's not complete bunk. It's just not. It's not worth shutting down an entire society and an entire economy to deal with it. If anything, Sweden's shown that wasn't the way to go. Anyway, moving on. What's the Telegraph got in the front cover, Junior?
Oh, so the Telegraph's got on the front cover. Starmer, I'll push onshore wind to hit net zero. So he's going to take off the ban on renewable energy. Source to be lifted in the first months of the Labour government, if he gets into power.
So there's currently a ban on...
Which I didn't know. I didn't know there was a ban on windshore energy. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that as well.
I thought it was the other way. When I read the story, I thought it was going to ban wind energy. I thought that was a bit strange, but he's taken off the ban, which is good.
I think because of sort of NIMBYism, people are worried about having the wind farms, in their view or whatever. So they're saying, oh, we don't want any more onshore wind farms. Put them out at sea, or put them there. And Keir has come out. I mean, I don't really disagree with this. It's just he's taken. I don't know if you've heard about this, Lewis, but Labour have taken £1.5 million from just one green energy company, Ecotricity, to make their money from wind energy. And now Keir Starmer is acting in a way, like bringing through policies that benefit those wind energy companies.
Well, you just got to follow the money. I mean, that's what this whole world is. It's follow the money. The fact is that wind energy, it sounds like a brilliant idea, but the wind isn't blowing all the time, number one. It costs a fortune to put those wind turbines up. It destroys the environment. It makes a racket. It kills so many birds. They're always talking about, things. And then when they break down, they're basically unrecyclable.
Then
right?
they get buried in the...
And then they get buried and it's a waste.
So you guys are taking a cynical point of view to the story. It's not really a positive thing that Keir Starmer was trying to do. I thought it was a positive thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what
I guess they're making a lot of money.
Yeah, it's all about money. This is what it's about. It's about.
I didn't know that.
Well, he's also...
I thought it was about the environment.
It isn't that. And can I just say something? Climate change is also a non-story because it maybe there is slight climate change caused by man-made climate change, but at the end of the day, it's not worth the money that we're spending.
Well, exactly. I mean, I don't disagree that climate change is happening, and I'm sure partly it's because it's man-made because of carbon dioxide, increased levels of carbon dioxide, which are still very low by historical levels.
Yeah.
But I don't think the solution is to give governments huge amounts of money and power. I don't think that's ever worked out as a solution for anything.
I would cycle. That's the least I can do.
You'll cycle, yeah.
No, recycle.
Recycle,
yeah.
which doesn't work either. It's been proven. No, I know you think it does. We all think it does. We all want to help. We all want to save the world.
I'm wasting my time on separating my plastics and my papers and my cans. Am I wasting?
Yes, that according to what I know. What do I know?
Where do you get your news from?
Where do I get my news from?
Well, moving on, we've got the Times now, Lewis. What's in the front cover of the Times?
He's questioning me. This is another. Britain's to be priority on council house lists. Ministers look to tightening rules for migrants. And I think this is the intersection of two issues, which is one is the huge migrant issue, is a lot of British people are against all these migrants coming in. And the second thing is...
Like you, Lewis.
I'm against migrants. I've seen...
Are you a migrant?
Yeah, of course I am. And I've seen... And I wouldn't want to be British and having to face me. I have to be on this show. I need the money. But the fact that these poor people have to look at me and you feel bad for them. And the most important issue is that the Times is pushing building of housing. They call it council housing. British people are completely... I don't know what the right word is. Crazy? Can I say crazy? They're completely overboard about council housing. They love it. They have a fixation with it. It reminds them of Woolworths, this incredible nostalgia. It's like Boney M songs or something.
Well, yeah, I think because we've got incredibly high levels of immigration. I think 1.2 million people came here, and obviously they all need to live somewhere. They're not bringing houses with them, so...
British people should get the homes first before immigrants. That's what.
And where are the immigrants going to live? That's the problem.
Hotels. I mean,
no, there aren't. And then
stay in the hotels. Right?
And when we go do a gig on the road,
then we can't stay in a hotel.
We can't stay in a hotel because it's too expensive. Where are they going to stay? They have to stay in.
They stay with you.
They'll stay with me. They'll come live. It depends what they look like.
And finally, what's in the front cover of the Daily Star, Junior?
The Great Bear Robbery. Brew is accused of cutting alcohol levels to save money, which is disgusting. They shouldn't do that. I've been to pubs before, and you can taste the difference in the alcohol, and I was livid. So yeah, this is something that's personal to me. Out of all these stories, this is the stories that I can relate to the most. The Great Bear Robbery. I'm not sure who this is on the front cover. I thought that was a former BBC presenter, but it's not. What's he doing? Is he back? But, yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible news.
It is really bad.
I was surprised to find out that the actual amount of duty paid on a pint of beer is related to its alcohol content. Rather, I thought it would just be standard for, if you've got a pint of beer, that's, however much. But they actually measure. That's how nerdy the government are. They measure the alcohol content of beer.
Well, they measure everything. It's like you go to those places and there's like the standard drink size. They can't go anything more or less.
They're not allowed.
Says it's got to be 25 mils or something. It's just total government control. In America, this is, first of all, I'm old. I remember inflation. I know inflation. This is what they do.
You go to a month ago, Lewis.
We got inflation now.
We got inflation now, but I'm saying I remember the original inflation.
The Great Depression.
Yeah. It was a long time. Listen, try to be nice to me.
Sorry.
Don't give me a hard time. You're so young.
I feel young.
You're young.
Anyway, that's
our audience.
That's the front page is done. Join us in part 2 where we dig deeper into the newspapers to cover the BBC sending 1,000 staff to Glastonbury, Sturgeon's ongoing problems, and the government handing out heroin. Might be a vote winner in Scotland. I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
First and foremost, I'm a GB News fan, and I was before I was working here. Just love the fact that we're asking the questions that a lot of establishment media won't ask.
With a bit of a twist, we not only want to inform you, but we want to keep you entertained.
It's worth the drive because you get in and the team's all ready and waiting, they're itching to go, and it's a proper little family.
GB News is the People's Channel.
It's the audience that makes the programme sing. We're giving our viewers and our listeners a voice. I see the thousands of your letters, tweets, emails, you name it, coming in.
Britain is broken. How on earth did we get into this mess? But more importantly, how do we get out of it?
The establishment had their chance. Now we're here to represent you.
It's time for something different. It's time for GB News. I'm very patriotic. I believe in Britain. Our best days lie ahead.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Join us here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my 2 comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Nightmare commute. Kick it up a gear with me, Patrick Christie's, at drive time, 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News Radio. You can listen online and on DAB+, on the smart speaker app, and on the GB News app. And if you've got an Alexa, all you have to say is, Alexa, play GB News. We're also on TuneIn and the Radio Player apps. From the school run to rush hour, get revved up with me, Patrick Christie's, on GB News and GB News Radio.
What you get for breakfast is something that, if we do our jobs right, you will wake up to news that you didn't know the night before.
It's a conversation. It's not just me and Eamon.
We want to get to know you, and we want you to get to know us.
From 6, it's Breakfast with Eamon and Isabel.
Monday to Thursdays on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster is going around in ever-decreasing circles, followed by the media. Britain is broken. How on earth did we get into this mess? But more importantly, how do we get out of it? Join me at 7 p.m, Monday to Thursdays on Farage, here on GB News. We will have open, rational debate. We've got to work out how Britain moves forward from this. Join us here on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain is watching.
Every Sunday from 11, join Michael Portillo.
There will be topical discussion, looking at the week before and the week to come. So kick back and relax at 11 a.m. on Sundays on GB News with me, Michael Portillo. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Leo Kearse and I'm here with comedians Lewis Schaefer and Junior Booker. And kicking things off in this section with The Guardian, and Nicola Sturgeon has claimed a suspect in an ongoing police investigation is innocent. In fairness, it's her, Lewis.
It's her, but I don't know what her did. We don't know what her did. We haven't been told what her did. It says, Nicola Sturgeon, I've done nothing wrong, according to The Guardian. Scotland's first ex-First Minister. She's the first
He's not the first ex-minister.
No. Returns home. She returned home after arrest as polls suggest Labour on course to defeat SNP. We don't know what she did wrong. Do we know what she did wrong?
She stole money from the Scottish
We
people.
don't know
That's
that.
what she's been investigated for,
Yeah.
but we don't know yet. It's about the SNP, the fraud investigation. There's £600,000 of donations that sort of
600 Scottish pounds. So what's that in English money?
That's very difficult to spend over the counter in England. So I don't know where they got that motorhome, but I hope they didn't pay with Scottish fivers.
So what I'd like to ask you as a Scottish person is, what business is it of Junior's and ours that the Scottish Labour Party had people there who had taken stuff from the Scottish Labour Party? This is, I think,
Scottish Labour Party.
The Scottish SNP, whatever those people are, the SNP.
It's quite a big difference.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
is that
SNP.
okay,
What do you mean it's the same country? And also, I mean, it's devolution.
What does the state have to? Has there been a complaint made?
British money, though. It's British.
Yeah, there's been lots of complaints made. So people donated independently. independence maniacs donated money to the SNP to pay for Indy Ref 2.
Yeah.
And so there was a second
Indy
independence
Ref 2.
referendum and the campaign for that. And that never happened.
The campaign never happened?
The campaign never happened.
yeah.
So there's no second referendum.
Right, but
so
has there been...
They're like, where's that money? Where's the money I gave you?
This should be a private lawsuit because they
No,
are...
this is a political party. Are you joking? We're covered by different rules. This isn't like just giving your mate 50 quid to like go to the bookies and put on a bet for
Well,
you.
shouldn't a political party be totally free? It should be a free association. If we want to start our own political party, that's the thing about this country. There's so much control over everything.
Well, of course, it has to be. Has to be in a something like this.
They're the biggest political party in
stop corruption.
Scotland. They're a big deal in Scotland.
Well, they're not going to be the biggest, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. What I think this is. This is just, and I am no fan of Nicola Sturgeon completely. I like
her. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Okay. Completely don't like her. That's one of the reasons I'm not going up to Edinburgh for the festival while she was there, okay? But the truth is they're trying to get rid of her like they did to Trump in America by arresting her.
Well, they have got rid of her already. Someone else has taken over already, haven't they not? So what's she doing now? What's her job?
They want to destroy the SNP. That's what's happening.
They should, yeah. She might go to prison, and she might be in the prison with a trans woman. That would be kind of funny.
Well, this is the thing. She passed. She was trying to pass through the rules, saying that trans women should be put in female prisons. And there was a few famous instances. I mean, for example, the rapist. I can't remember what his original name was. But Isla Bryson.
Yeah.
And just a bloke in a frock, and obviously a convicted rapist, not somebody who should be housed with women. So I wonder, given that it's now a vague possibility. I wonder if she's backtracked on her decision to allow these types of people in female prisons.
Well, you know what? You don't know what her gender is.
I suppose we don't. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Telegraph now with a government policy that's forcing farmers out of business. I guess it's lucky we don't need to eat food, Lewis.
Oh, this is me again. This is interesting because I hadn't even thought about that. I've started to think about my inheritance, and then I realized I've got nothing to leave. Is that the inheritance tax loophole is changing the face of rural Britain. Farmers are struggling to secure commercially viable plots of land as prices soar. And what's happening is that regular people like us, Junior, we're buying land because it's easier to give to our children without paying inheritance tax, and it means that people who are farmers don't have it raises the price of that land.
Yeah.
And the people who are farmers.
So people are using the agricultural land as a financial chip to sort of pass on wealth, because cash or other types of property would be subject to inheritance tax, but not agricultural land. I mean, Junior, it seems unfair that farmers don't. I mean, if inheritance tax
personally, I think all kind of tax is unfair and it should be abolished.
There you go. There you go. He's my man. My man.
As a comedian.
Perfect.
Yeah, but inheritance tax. Something I've never really thought about. Leaving money to anyone. I wouldn't really want to leave anything to anyone.
Yeah.
After I've gone.
What about your kid? Don't you want to leave money to your kid?
You want to be buried with it like a Viking?
Yeah, like the Egyptians were, or something like that.
You have it buried. Is that what you're saying?
I want to keep all my money to myself. Leave it to my cats, probably.
Oh, there you go. That's very Egyptian.
Like Karl Lagerfeld did.
Yeah. But this does seem unfair that if inheritance tax is cruel because it would stop farmers continuing generation after generation. What about other family businesses? What if I wanted to continue my dad's gunsmithing business or something like that? Why are some people subject to inheritance tax?
Well, that's a very good point. I think at the end of the day, I think I'm with Junior over here, is that all inheritance taxes are reprehensible because people have been paying taxes every step of the way to get that money.
Yeah, the amount of tax you pay is ridiculous. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Mail reporting on the real Partygate. The BBC are sending 1,000 staff to Glastonbury to have a party with their money. Tell us more about this, Junior.
Yeah, the BBC are paying for 1,000 staff working on Glastonbury coverage this week, despite the festival failing to attract high ratings, which is... I've never been Glastonbury myself before. I do like festivals, but I'll never watch a festival on TV. If you're not there, then there's no point of watching it. Only time I watch a festival on TV is like I'm watching it on someone's Instagram story and it's very blurry, very grainy, and the person's very drunk and holding the camera up properly. That's the kind of thing I want to watch. they're going to watch Festival
Or
on
if
TV.
there's some sort of weather disaster and you see the tents getting swept away.
Yeah,
It's
that'd be
tsunami.
cool to watch. But the BBC it's a waste of money. Only thing I watch on BBC is Match of the Day, really. So, and I do pay for my TV license now.
Yeah, now.
Because they
After the
call
ASBO.
me. Yeah, after the ASBO. Yeah. I used to say that my TV identifies as a microwave, but that didn't work.
Well, do you know what? If the BBC are bringing Glastonbury like live to all the homes, maybe they should bring other things live, like be giving out MDMA or
They should
acid or whatever
televise
drug.
my next comedy show on the BBC. One of my comedy shows.
Are you gonna
pay me?
Yeah, pay Junior.
I think you deserve a bigger audience than that. I think you deserve to be on GB News. But I mean, it's pretty disgusting. They've got this tax, this flat levy, a regressive tax that everybody, little old ladies, bus drivers, everybody has to pay £159 a year.
£159?
It's £159 now.
How much I'm paying?
Yeah. That's how much you're paying. It's coming out direct debit. You don't even realise.
Yeah.
And then it's not as if they're being careful with the money. They are just spaffing it on. I mean, here, 1,000 people going to Glastonbury.
4 and 5-star hotels.
Yeah, they're staying in nice hotels. Yeah. Like, you could go and cover Glastonbury for... They obviously just want a jolly. They can obviously see the end is nigh for the BBC, and they think, well, it's like the fall of Rome. And the way out, we might as well have a lovely time.
Well, we just can make a clarification, because I know on Twitter, which is at Lewis Schaefer, you're going to have to do one yourself. You've got to be prepared for this show. And this is like, do as you can, whatever they make do, whatever it is that it's not, 1,000 staff are not going to be there, because some of them are working at home in the offices, some are going to be local people. So it's not like they're bringing 1,000 people in. But you're totally right. The BBC, the reason why people are upset about this is because people are forced to pay. It's theft. The BBC is theft. The BBC stands for Big Brother Communications. It's basically, it's not even state media. It's not state media. It's the state propaganda network providing circuses for the people.
And in the interest of balance, I'd just like to say, what can I say that disagrees with that without lying?
That's your job. I'll say it. They do an amazing job. It's the best thing about this country is the BBC.
The World Service. I love the World Service. It's really good. It projects British values around the world, and it's a good thing. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Mail again, and in news that delighted me as a Scotsman, a government minister is recommending free heroin for all, Lewis.
Yeah, well, this is like 1960s. It's the policing minister backs calls to give drug addicts free daily heroin injections. The policing minister has backed controversial calls to give drug addicts free daily. This is what the Mail on Sunday says. And it's ridiculous because, first of all, there might be a lot of drug addicts out there who are addicted to heroin. But why just heroin? Why not give out all the other drugs that people are addicted to? Why not give out free alcohol? It'll stop people. Why not give out free food?
Free gambling.
What?
Free gambling.
Free gambling. Why not everything? And they did a trial thing up in Middlesbrough, and they found there was a 98% reduction on street drug use. Of course not, because they're giving the stuff away for free.
Yeah, who's the 2% that was still going out and buying heroin when they were getting free heroin?
And then they said, this is the shocking thing, that it cost hundreds of thousands of pounds to treat just 14 people.
Yeah.
This is What do you say? That's your community.
What community? Well, heroin addicts. I remember heroin from that movie Trainspotting. So that movie put a very dark perspective on heroin.
So that's Leo.
It's actually my community.
Yeah.
You just culturally raised my traditions.
Free drugs is a bad thing. No, free heroin, free other drugs, like lighter drugs would be a good thing. But heroin's like the worst drug you can do.
How do you know it's the worst drug?
Because Trainspotting.
Oh, okay.
Remember that baby?
I guess the idea is that a lot of the harm from heroin comes from using illegal heroin, which is more likely to cause infections, and it funds crime and all the rest of it. So it's bad. And also people are committing crime to get it. But if it's hundreds of thousands of pounds in cost to the taxpayer just to treat 14 people, I don't know, stick anthrax in it. And, then solve.
And just get rid of the 14 people, you save hundreds of thousands of pounds. At the end of the day, I think people should be allowed to take any drug that they want to take, but they should have to pay for it. And if they have to rob a bank to get the money, let them rob a bank, and then we catch them, and then we put them in jail.
Yeah.
Or kill them.
If you go to jail, do you get free heroin?
Probably, you make some connections, at least to be cheaper on the way out.
You might get some sort of pharmaceutical, like methadone, I think it's called. And obviously, we don't approve of any harm coming to drug users. Anyway, that's it for part 2. Join us in a couple of minutes for dodgy sex education, big money behind pride, and France becomes the latest European country to go right-wing. Don't go away.
Like all families, we have arguments every now and then, but actually we agree on what the mission of GB News is, and that's the most fundamentally important thing.
GB News provides the kind of platform that lets all voices be heard.
We don't hold back. We're free to say what we really think. Just because some people who live in a tiny little Westminster bubble think that their particular story is important, that's not the most important story for me.
And often they will be difficult stories that you won't find on the establishment media.
Because what people think in the north of England may be very different to what they're thinking in the home counties.
We're going to carry on telling the world what life is really like for households up and down the UK.
We love to be in your car, in your kitchen as you're having your breakfast. Whatever you're doing, you are part of the show. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Patrick Christie's Monday to Friday, 3 till 6. We tackle the day's news agenda like you've never seen before. It's high tempo, high octane, the most controversial topics, and the best guests. You will not be able to take your eyes and ears off it. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that you really want answered. 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, on Sunday mornings from 9:30, taking the politicians to task and breaking out of SW1 to see how their decisions are affecting you across the UK. Bursting the Westminster bubble every Sunday morning, only on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's watching.
Join us every night on GB News at 11 p.m. for Headliners, which is 3 top comedians going through the next day's news stories, which is exactly what you need, because when the establishment has gone crazy, you need some craziness to make sense of it. So join us 11 p.m. every night on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Dan Wootton. You can watch me live on GB News Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. And did you know that you can also watch and listen live on our website, gbnews.com. You'll always be up to date on the latest breaking news, as well as enjoying the best stories, opinions, and shows. You can even join the debate under our live player as you're watching. So head straight to gbnews.com on TV, radio, and online. GB News, Britain's news channel.
So Jubes & Co, we tackle the issues of the day with real robust debate, both sides of the fence, battling it out with me in the middle with my forthright opinions and views, and often really interesting things happen because you start with a position and then by the end of the debate you find actually, well, I might not have thought about that one.
What we need in this country is 2 new political parties.
You should maybe think about doing a 2024 calendar. I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm keeping you company right through until 7 o'clock this evening.
GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's watching.
Welcome back to Headliners. We've got the Mail now with some shocking revelations about school sex education, which sounds like it was created by Jimmy Savile Jr. That's Jimmy Savile, comma, Jr. Not a guy called Jimmy Savile Jr.
This is a weird story. 12-year-olds are being taught about anal sex in school, while 9-year-olds are being taught to masturbate for homework. The shocking lesson plans used by teachers in UK classrooms, which is just crazy. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And it was a long time ago, but I did sex education, and all they taught us was how babies were made. It was all like, look at that. We didn't really know what's going on. We was like 11 or 12.
And putting a condom on a banana.
We didn't do that, though. We didn't learn about condoms. That's probably why.
Yeah. Because you are a dad.
Yeah, so, it's a way. It's strange as well. Masturbate for homework. That'll be an interesting discussion the next day. Junior, did you do your homework? I was like, yes, miss. I've done my homework 7 times last night. Next time I'm going to go for 10 times. My arm got tired. But yeah, 9-year-olds masturbating. 9-year-olds don't masturbate.
Yeah, that's crazy to tell. Crazy. Like for adults to tell 9-year-olds to go home and to give them masturbation as homework. That's I mean, even somebody as deviant as you must find that.
I do find that. I think it'd be more shocking if it was actually done in the class. You know, classroom aside, as opposed to going, at least at home, there's privacy. I mean, this is one of these stories that is just...
I hope this doesn't happen. I really do hope.
No, we keep seeing these stories because I mean, there's very few sort of rules and restrictions around sex education. I think people just sort of assume in good faith that the people coming along to do it are going to, you know, not take it too far. And obviously with, you know, gender ideology and all these like weird things, you know, we've got the MAPs, the minor attracted people, and all that sort of stuff, entering these spheres, getting involved, influencing these things. They're trying to break down some of the old barriers. It feels like. I mean, some of the stuff just isn't scientifically true. Like people are taught that they can change their sex. You can't. That's a biological thing. It's determined by your chromosomes. You can change your gender because that's supposed to be a social thing.
Well, people would debate that. I mean, you
can change what you identify as. You can change what you identify as, but
you can't identify as a different biological sex. You can identify as a different gender.
You can be a man that identifies as a woman.
That's gender.
Yeah. Well,
but you can't change from male to female.
No, that's not gender.
No, man and woman is
you can
gender.
change your sex, can't you?
Also, you can't identify as a man. You got to like own a toolbox. You got to have been in a fight. You've got to buy a fridge. There's a lot of things you've got to do before you can call yourself a man.
I'm not a man then.
The point is, I am so old. I don't even remember having sex education when I was a kid. I don't even remember people having sex.
During the war.
Exactly. It was so long ago. We had parthenogenesis. We didn't. I've never used that term before. We didn't have sex. They hadn't invented rubber when I was a kid.
The cloth condoms.
They hadn't even started importing bananas into the country.
I teach someone about anal sex. That's weird. Teaching someone about anal sex. No one's ever taught me about anal sex. I'm 37, and I still haven't been taught. So
right.
Did you work it out on your own? Anyway, moving on, we've got the Times now with some concerns that Pride is more about corporate money than hot man-on-man action now, Lewis.
Yeah. Well, hot man-on-man action. Hot. Anyway, big money flies the flag at Pride, but is, I guess, Pride losing its soul? Corporate cash saved the flagship LGBT event a decade ago, but this has not been without criticism. And what they're saying is that the first Pride thing was started by Peter Tatchell, who was a guy that I've actually met. He's a tremendous campaigner for stuff in Southwark, my home borough.
And this was like 50 years ago.
And this is 50 years ago. He's been doing it. He's one of the bravest people. And somehow... it's changed, and now they got £240,000.
They've sold out.
They sold out in a good way because they got £240,000 from United Airlines. United.
But then, I mean, are these corporations, Junior, do you think these corporations are coming in and really believe in the values?
No,
they just see an opportunity to advertise?
They just see the gay pound is strong right now, so they're just trying to capitalise on that. That's all it is. They don't really care about this. There's a company in America called Bud Light who tried to do something.
Like the Dylan Mulvaney
and then they backtrack because they're losing money. All they care about is the money, really.
Or the other way to look at it, Junior, is that they don't want the negative thing said because they haven't given money. They've been a known supporter of LGBTQ plus whatever, and they're good guys. So don't sue us, don't boycott us like what happened with
Bud
Light. Yeah.
We've seen it backfire on other companies. I mean, Target lost I think off the share price billions of dollars.
What they were doing was crazy though. It was crazy.
So they had LGBT clothes for kids.
Clothes, which is ridiculous.
Which is crazy. And more recently, Wix in this country, which sells like nails and hammers and things like that.
The CEO came out and he said he doesn't want bigots buying their products.
But he just classified anybody who's doesn't follow gender ideology. Anybody who's a sort of what we call a feminist.
It's
a hardware store. They're bringing out some sex change shears and chisels that will remove your genitalia now. But I mean, that could really harm them, because the guy basically, I mean, it shows how removed corporate elites are from the people who actually shop in their stores. He said, "Oh, anybody who isn't fully on board, if you don't turn up at the shop wearing sparkly hot pants and on a rainbow float and all the rest of it, then you're some sort of bigot and you're not welcome here." I mean, I'm paraphrasing slightly. But that was basically what he said.
It sounds a bit dangerous to be wearing hot pants when you're doing spackling or when you're working with nails and woodwork. A wood chip can fly anywhere.
Anyway, moving on, we've got the Telegraph now, and America has decided that positive discrimination isn't that positive, Junior.
Yes, from the Telegraph here, affirmative action is not fair. We cannot cure racism of the past with new racism. America is set to end positive discrimination in universities just as it takes off in the UK. As a black man, or a black identifying man, I do feel like affirmative action and positive discrimination, it was a very positive thing, it was necessary at the time, our past generations, because it was harder for black people to get anywhere in the UK and America. So I'm not sure about right now, but I do feel like we had to pay homage to my forefathers, who went through a lot of trials and tribulations to make it easier for people like me to make it in the UK and America right now. So, but I don't know about affirmative action, positive discrimination. I don't really want that. If I've got a job, if I'm going for a job against a white man, if he's the better candidate, give him the job. I just want a cut of his wages. That's what I want.
But Lewis, we've seen with this. We've seen this where it actually discriminates against some ethnic minorities. So Asians. If there's, I mean, one of the plaintiffs in the case is John Wang. I'm guessing he's Scottish, but he's an 18-year-old. He's got amazing test scores. He's got the best exam results of pretty much anybody in America, and he's been turned down from all these places because they're limiting the number of Asian entries because so many Asian kids get these amazing scores.
And what do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to say that's bad, Leo. I totally agree with you.
Okay, I'm going to say that I believe that that any business or individual should be allowed to set rules and to have affirmative action.
Well, it's only for black people, though.
I'm standing for black people. I'm saying if Harvard University, which is a private university, wants to have an entire class of only black people, but then
what's that going to create? What sort of system is that going to create? When you go into a hospital and you're going to think that any black person who becomes a surgeon or whatever is going to have this question mark, this cloud hanging over them, and then, saying, "Oh, did they just get this?"
That might happen, but it'll be up to Harvard, and then people won't go to Harvard because they'll say, "You know what? I don't really trust Harvard." At the end of the day, people should be allowed to have free association. They should be allowed to choose the school that they want to go to. They should be able to choose the people that they
got the qualifications to get into Harvard, then
equality. We need equality.
But if you've got too many Asians, too many white people, and not enough black people, then you have to reach a certain quota. That's just how it is. So.
Because they want.
No, I don't think there needs to be quotas. I mean, what are we going to introduce it in football? So that we've got the proportionate amount of white people playing football.
It's just,
but then it won't be as good.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
if they want to have only black people on, let's say, a basketball team or a football team, let them do it. Because if somebody comes along that's a white guy that's better, they're going to make the team. Let people stop this state from minding people's business. Let them.
I think we need to stop discrimination. It's got to be equality and just based on what you can do rather than what you look like.
You've got to tick a box, though.
Moving on. No box ticking. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Telegraph reporting on another European country turning to a right-wing party to fix the mess made by Liberals, Lewis. Yeah, well, this was totally expected. This is in the Telegraph that Macron, he's a Macron. I don't speak French. Facing political tsunami. I spoke Japanese, that's Japanese, as voters turn to Marine Le Pen, who is the leader of the hard right, what is it called? National Rally, which I think rally is not really in Israel. It sounds like a car race. Yeah. And it says poll suggests that steady growth in support for the hard right leader, with the president's own MP warning constituencies are falling like dominoes. And it says that in France, 77% of the population, total population, think the country is going to hell. And 92% of the people who are on the far right think the country's
going to hell.
It is a bit of a mess in
and
France.
it seems like it's a mess. Well, this is what happened when
always striking and rioting and protesting.
Well, this is what surprised me because for years, I don't know why I'm laughing, but they've had an issue with unfettered migration. I mean, much larger than the sort of illegal immigration we get into the UK, and also immigration from places with really culturally distant values, which has resulted in Islamist terror attacks. There's a Bataclan and various large-scale horrific things. I mean, just the other day there was the stabbing in the park, the guy stabbing the toddlers. But everybody seemed to just accept that. But when Macron raised the retirement age from 62 to 64, which isn't even that high, everybody was like, "Oh, what? This is the last straw. Oh my God, I was fine with the terror, but you're going to make me work a little bit more."
Well, do you know what it is? I think it just shows people are willing to put up with terrorism for an early retirement. They're willing to be nice.
But didn't she lose in the last election? She ran before.
She has, and she's sort of steadily been increasing her share of the vote. Her party's share of the vote. So, and it looks like, finally, they're going to get over that hurdle and possibly get into power, as we've seen more traditionally right-wing parties. I'm not talking
hard
about...
right. What's hard right?
Hard right. Hard right is sort of a centrist party from about 20 years ago is basically what hard right means now. But, in Sweden, Germany, Italy, Spain as well, I think the Vox party there, we're seeing a lot of, properly right-wing parties, as opposed to, the Conservative Party here, which is just a Labour Party, essentially. They're becoming more popular.
Every dog has its day. And eventually, it doesn't last forever. The left doesn't stay in power forever.
Yeah.
She's a female, wasn't she, Marine Le Pen?
Yeah, she's the...
Sounds like a sort of containment unit for dolphins, Marine Le Pen. Anyway, moving on, that's it for this section, but in our final section, we've got a ban on bikinis in the school run, a good reason to get cremated, and because it's Father's Day, we've got some dad's jokes. Anyway, see you soon.
I joined GB News because I was sick and tired of not hearing my views being represented, not just mine, but so many people that I knew and spoke to.
I just couldn't get my voice out there. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. Whatever the narrative was, I kind of had to follow it.
GB News is there to provide a voice for those who have been ignored by the establishment media. We think different things, we've got a different style.
GB News is here to be optimistic and positive about the future.
It's real kind of dynamic and flowing, with the audience very much at the heart of it, like a big family.
Here at GB News, we talk about the things that matter to you.
Hearing the voices from right across our towns and cities, especially our towns.
All sides of the argument represented with a heavy dose of opinion.
We're on a mission here to make a difference. And the GB News family really is here for you, and whatever time of day you can watch or listen. Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prison?
I don't believe in prisons.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You've probably seen politicians interviewed 1,000 times, but we do it differently. We find out who they really are, we don't shout, we chat, and hopefully we bring a bit of light, not just heat. Did you know Kate Moss?
Apparently.
Do you have a pair of jeans or a pair of jeans?
No, of course I don't. What would I do with them?
My friends are like, oh my God, what's she doing now?
Join me every Sunday at 6 for Gloria Meets, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Weeknights on GB News from 6 p.m. You'll always get drama.
Please stop, Michelle.
I know, yeah.
Please stop.
Should I just shut up?
Romance.
You like me, I like you. There you go.
There you are. Well, don't tell anybody.
Adventure.
Etc.
That's the whole point.
And action.
Sergeant, read my superstar panel. They're already at it. They're fighting. It's going to be quite a show.
Only on GB News. Britain's watching.
In a world of dull and predictable radio and TV shows,
Oh, hi. On Mark Dolan tonight, we've got big guests. We drill into the big stories of the day. The show adds up to a brilliant listening and viewing experience. Mark Dolan Tonight is the most entertaining current affairs show ever, and that's a fact. That's Mark Dolan Tonight, Fridays from 8, Saturday and Sunday from 9. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. We've got the Star kicking things off with a good reason not to get cremated, Lewis.
Yeah, well, because a woman who came back to life and she knocked on the coffin. I mean, the story is basically that they buried a live woman and she was in a coffin for 4 hours.
Jeez.
And then
she banged on the coffin
And she banged
door.
on the coffin door.
Was it in the ground?
It wasn't in the ground. They were about to take the body out and change what she was wearing. And this is like one of those typical British stories where they tell you it's all the way 4 or 5 paragraphs down where this happened. It makes it seem like it happened in Streatham or Peckham, where I live. So you're thinking, oh, it happened. No, it happened in Ecuador. So obviously...
It probably happens a lot.
It probably happens a lot. And she was 76 years old. It's like in the Monty Python thing, Bring Out Your Dead. You know the one, Bring Out Your Dead? Yeah. You don't remember this, you're too young.
No.
You're too young. Bring Out Your Dead. And I'm not dead, you will be dead. And hits him on the head.
With some COVID.
And like in this country...
That's very scary, though. Imagine being at a funeral and you're the person in the coffin. I would need some counselling and some therapy.
Because they came out from the dead.
Yeah, I mean, this is every sleep paralysis nightmare I've ever had. Getting, buried alive in a coffin, that's a nightmare. Anyway, moving on, we've got the Times now, and it's bad news for dads on the school run. There's a ban on mums wearing bikinis and fighting at the school gates, Junior.
Oh, yeah. No bikinis at the school gates or tweeting about teachers the new rules for parents. So Nick Hearn wants to crack down on parents smoking, drinking, fighting, swearing and wearing inappropriate clothing on school premises and abusing teachers on social media. And listen, if I want to dress like a homeless dude or whatever, taking my daughter to school, that's my prerogative. Yeah. I should be allowed to do that.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have done it for this show.
No. Oh, this is me dressed up. But wearing bikinis, that's inappropriate because you've got young kids watching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And little boys can be a bit perverted.
Also, it's kind of uncomfortable to... I thought of you turning up to the school gates in a bikini, that's just...
Well, a full bikini is a bikini. Yeah. I'm assuming it's a bikini top, not a full bikini.
Right.
But it was hot last week, so maybe people were coming.
Maybe the mom is going into the sex education class.
Yeah, I'm your homework.
I'm your homework.
Bring out that banana, kids.
OK, moving on, we've got the Mail now, and dad jokes are good for you.
Oh, you know what? I've been so good. I read all the stories, and I got a feeling there are some, really funny jokes in this category.
Yeah.
And I know, I'd say, why did a balloon go near the needle? He wanted to be a pop star. What did the duck do when he read all these jokes? He quacked up.
Can you stop telling us your comedy sets? I mean, people can come and see it at a comedy club if you want to see it. But what is the actual story?
The actual story is why you should indulge the, quote, dad jokes this Father's Day. Scientists say your old man gags, and I'm an old man, and I guess you're an old man to your kid, right?
Yeah, to my child, yeah.
I mean, you seem young to me, but maybe you're old. That they say are good for you, and here they're good for you. They basically say dad jokes are important in helping children learn to be embarrassed by their parents. So they actually think that you going out of your way to embarrass your child is good for your child, when the truth is, as a parent, we can't help but not embarrass them.
I do dad dancing. That embarrasses my child. Dad dancing, that's really embarrassing. But I hate dad jokes because I'm a comedian, I'm an artist, and I write carefully crafted jokes, and these jokes are just beneath me. I don't want to read them. They're just terrible jokes.
Well, some of these jokes, they just didn't make any sense to me. It's what did Michael Jackson call his denim store? Billy Jeans.
Yeah,
just because it's got jeans in it.
Yeah, because that's the song.
Yeah, but it's like it was Sally Jeans or something. Is it selling jeans? But Billy Jeans?
And I bet somewhere in America there's a shop called Billy Jeans. So it's not even a joke. It's probably serious.
Yeah.
I have one dad joke. Here's my dad joke. Why are chicken eggs brown?
I don't know.
Because they come out of the chicken's bottom.
Oh, that's okay.
OK, we've only got 30 seconds, but please, just tell us quickly about these robots being banned from entering music awards. I mean, presumably that's until the robots take over, Junior.
Yeah, robots. Grammys are banning AI entrance, artificial intelligence entrance. So apparently, there's AI music now. I'm not really too involved in this situation. I don't really know. I read the article, but I'm kind of scared of AI because I used to watch a lot of Terminator movies. So this is like the first step. I think in one of the Terminator movies, a robot did win a Grammy or something like that.
Thought, well, maybe I could do guns.
Yeah, and then it was the end of the world. So yeah, I think it's a good thing that we're banning. AI should be banned from everything. There'll be AI comedians soon as well, taking our jobs. So. We've got foreigners taking our jobs, then robots.
You're safe. Anyway, the show is nearly over, so let's take another quick look at Monday's front pages. The Daily Mail has bank told to wait before imposing another rate hike. The Telegraph leads with, I'll push onshore wind to hit net zero. That's Keir Starmer. The Guardian has pressure on Sunak as Met Police consider latest Partygate video. The Times have Britons to be a priority on council house lists. The Express has taxpayer will not foot the bill for mortgage bailout. And finally, the Daily Star has the great beer robbery. And those were your front pages, and that's all we have time for.
Can we wave
Thank you to my guests, Lewis Schaefer and Junior Booker. And we're back tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Josh, Howie, Nick Dixon and Cresta Wet. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, stay tuned for breakfast. Bye.
First and foremost, I am a GB News fan, and I was before I was working here. Just love the fact that we're asking the questions that a lot of establishment media won't ask.
With a bit of a twist, we not only want to inform you, but we want to keep you entertained.
It's worth the drive because you get in and the team's all ready and waiting, they're itching to go, and it's a proper little family.
GB News is the people's channel.
It's the audience that makes the programme sing.
We're giving our viewers and our listeners a voice. I see the thousands of your letters, tweets, emails, you name it, coming in.
Britain is broken. How on earth did we get into this mess? But more importantly, how do we get out of it?
The establishment had their chance. Now we're here to represent you.
It's time for something different. It's time for GB News. I'm very patriotic. I believe in Britain. Our best days lie ahead.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Join us here on GB News.
The people's channel.
Britain's news channel.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my two comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the people's channel, Britain's news channel.
Nightmare commute. Kick it up a gear with me, Patrick Christie's, at drive time, 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News Radio. You can listen online and on DAB+, on the smart speaker app, and on the GB News app. And if you've got an Alexa, all you have to say is, Alexa, play GB News. We're also on TuneIn and the Radio Player apps. From the school run to rush hour, get revved up with me, Patrick Christie's, on GB News and GB News Radio.
What you get for breakfast is something that, if we do our jobs right, you will wake up to new